Page 10, the Gypsy Baron. It says no sharps or flats to start with. It won't stay that way, but to start with, so it's just the white keys. 3/4 time, and the first measure, there's one beat in it, so it's a pickup measure. Pickup beat, we're coming in on beat 3. This piece is in 2 sections. Remember we talked about sections? We haven't talked about sections. Pretend we've talked about sections. The first section is on page 10 and the first line on page 11. And at the end of the line you see a thin and thick bar line. Remember, that is the symbol for end of a piece of music. So we know the music, this piece is going to end there eventually. Well, there's a theme there, it makes sense. Then on the second section starts on the second line. And so it is the last 4 lines on page 11. That's the second section. 2 sections. The left hand gets the melody at first, and then the right hand gets it for the second section. That's kind of nice. We have a change in key signature. The second section has 1 sharp. We're in the key of G major. Oh boy. Make sure you can do the scale, the C major scale and the G major scale, at least 1 octave up and down. Just go to my scale videos. I got one on each, and do the beginner part of that. It will help you in a lot of ways. I want to take it one hand at a time, make sure we got the fingering in the notes. I have some fingering suggestions. That fingering is, there's all kinds of different fingerings. So the fingering in the book is fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but I like a different one, so I'm going to suggest that to you. Starting with the right hand, we have these chords here. This is actually a C chord with all 3 of them, except we're not playing the C. We don't have to play all the notes in a chord. So the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So the top note changed, the bottom note didn't. Second line, last 2 measures. Now it's here. They're saying 1 and 2. That's okay, but it's not necessary. You can stay right where you are and just do 2 and 3. There's no need to move. See, the fingering style I use most of the time is I won't move my hands if I don't have to. Not everybody does that, but that's the one I do, and that's the one I teach. So as far as I'm concerned, you can just stay right there for all of the page 10 in the right hand. And then on page 11, you're starting out that way. In the last 2 measures, it's what now it's a 1, 2 here, because that's the chord. It's a C chord. It's just got the C on top instead of on the bottom, but that's the fingering for it. So now it is thumb. So it's 1, 2 here. 1 beat of rest, and your thumb comes down 1. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And this fingering, I don't like it, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and use it here. This is the second line on page 11. 3, 1, thumb again. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. You stay there. End of the third line, you're here. Last measure is here. And then just reach up and move down. Here. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's all right. Just move down. And you're going to do that again. Left hand at the beginning, as I said, is melody. They want you to do this. 5, 1, crossover. That's okay, you can do that. Again, the fingering style that I use and teach is I don't cross over my thumb if I don't have to. And I don't have to. Because instead of thumb here, I can use second finger. Just reach up a little bit. I mean, if you can reach an octave, you can probably reach that, because that's the chord. So you just reach up. And now you're in position. You don't have to cross over. You just have to remember to reach back down for that G. Then here, second line again. And just use second finger again. And the third line, I'd stay with second finger. Then reach up with the thumb at the end of the line. And the top of page 11, it would be third finger on that D, and then the little finger on the A. I didn't cross over the thumb at all. Going on. Second line, you're here, broken chords. 1, 2, rest, rest. Next line is 5/7 chord in G major, rest. Remember, all the F's here are sharped. Put the hands together. This should be interesting. At the beginning, you're here. 1, 2. This is weird because the rhythms are different in each hand. So this takes a little bit. You have to focus this here. That's by itself. And then you play, and then together. And then that's by itself, and then together. And the E is tied. So put the hands together. Now over on page 11, second line, it's the second section here. So the left hand's going to come up here. You got rest, you got time. So it's now look out. You have a rest in the third beat in the left hand. Make sure it's quiet. That note's got to be by itself. Don't hold that down. No, lift up. Just lift up on each of these. So the third beat is a rest in the left hand. Then when you can do that, then go through it very slowly and carefully and get rid of it. Any hesitations you've got. The beat has to be a steady beat at some beat all the way through, no exceptions. The steady beat. Then we can add the phrasing. The lift up, lift up. It's like taking a breath and going on. The beat is still steady, but you're just taking a breath. There is nothing in the right hand. You just connect them. Just play them the best you can. So forth. Page 11, second line. Now it's the right hand. Which is this lifting up comes in handy at the end of the third line because you got to move. And as you lift up, you can move. So put in those. In the left hand, connect them. Rest, 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 rest. Oh boy, this is fun. So forth. You don't have to go that fast. I speed it up so the video doesn't last so long. You go your speed. You go nice and slow. Then dynamics. Well, dynamics, remember, that's the louds and softs. That applies to the melody. So at the beginning, this moderately loud, MF, mezzo forte, you have to decide what moderately loud is. It's sort of loud. That's the melody, which is the left hand. This right hand needs to be soft. Good luck with that. So forth. And at the end of the first line on page 11, you come down. Well, here, the left hand doesn't have any, it dies away on its own. But here, try and make each one of these a little softer. Then in the second line, now you're loud now. And that's the melody, it's the right. The left hand is now soft. But the left hand, you keep this down. Then at the end, the bottom, the last couple measure, try. Can you make each of those just a little bit softer? Because the right hand will die away on its own. So forth. Yeah. Get to know it well enough that you can feel this melody. Speed-wise, well, think of people waltzing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, please don't copy me. I just play the way I feel it, and I would play it different every time because I'll feel it different every time. As long as you don't do anything against what the music is saying, You can do anything you want, actually. Now, roadmap for this, there's a DC Alfine at the bottom of page 11. That DC, remember, means go back to the beginning, top of page 10. And the Fine is at the end of the first line there on page 11, where the thin and thick bar lines are. So you could go back and do that. So form-wise, it's an ABA form. The A section starts on page 10, and the B section is the second line on page 11. Starts there. So that's a ternary form. Are you into any of that? I don't know whether you're doing that or not. Now there's showing pedal at the end of this, at the bottom of page 11 on the last couple measures here. I see no reason for that. I don't agree with it. I would not add pedal there. I didn't use pedal anywhere else, so I'm not going to add pedal here either. When you use pedal, you use it for specific reasons. I'm not sure what the reason is here. The only thing I can think of is maybe they want to connect the repeated chords. And the only way you can connect them is with pedal. But it just adds all the overtones. And this arrangements in this book seem to have a habit of adding pedal at the end anyway. But I would not add pedal here. If you're going to pedal it, then pedal it throughout. And use kind of a waltz style pedaling. A waltz style pedaling is when you push the pedal down for the first beat or maybe 2 beats of every measure to reinforce the natural accent. You don't need to do that on this piece, is what I'm saying. So I'm recommending leave the pedal out on this. It's unnecessary. I like to play it with you very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3, and let's just go slowly together. Ready, go. Rest. Beginning.